In this video, we are going to go over the urinary system, talking a little bit about what it does, and ultimately give an overview of the structures. So let's start by giving an introduction into the different components of the urinary system. First of all, we have the kidneys. So you can see the kidneys right here. They are a paired set of organs that you find on the left and right side of the abdominal cavity. They are going to be a major player in the function of the urinary system. So obviously, because urine is going to be involved with water, they're going to do several things. So they help to regulate the total water volume. They will help regulate the concentration of that water, so that we call that the osmolality. They are going to be an important role in the regulation of acid-base balance. As a part of the urinary system, a very important and maybe the main function of the urinary system is to get rid of metabolic waste. So they're going to get rid of the things that are derived from just normal daily living. Also, we'll get rid of xenobiotics. These are things that we take into our body that are foreign to help regulate those. Kidneys are also going to produce two hormones. So they produce EPO, which is going to be involved in red blood cell production, and renin, which plays a role in the water balance and blood pressure in the blood. They are going to convert vitamin D into its active form. So they are important for the function of that particular vitamin. They are able to undergo gluconeogenesis. So gluco referring to the sugar glucose, neo meaning new, genesis to create. So this is the creation of new glucose molecules. This is only during extreme cases of fasting. And then finally, the main function we're going to see is related to the release of the metabolites, and really how all of these things, or most of these things, I should say, over here are going to be regulated, and that is the fact that it produces urine. All right, from the kidney to the bladder, we have a long tube that is known as the ureter. So this is just going to be involved in transporting the urine from the kidneys to the bladder. The bladder down here is going to serve as a reservoir for the urine. So it's going to store the urine, and the final structure is the urethra. This is going to carry urine from the bladder to the outside of the body. So it's how we eventually get rid of that urine. All right, so what is urine? Urine is a filtrate of the blood. So you're going to start with blood coming into the kidney via the renal vein. When it comes in here, the first thing that is going to happen is you're going to filter. So this is mostly going to allow small things to get filtered out of the blood into the urine. So that's the main thing that the kidney is initially doing. Next, after you have that, you are going to have things that are starting to form the urine. So this is the urine product. This is the blood. Some things that were filtered are actually going to be reabsorbed. So you have reabsorption taking place. So this prevents things that would be beneficial or that you don't want to get rid of, but were initially filtered from getting removed from the body. Finally, you will also have another thing where you are having additional stuff going from the blood to the urine via secretion. So this is largely going to be due to active transport moving things into the urine. Ultimately, then the urine is going to exit the body or exit the kidney via the ureter to ultimately go to the bladder where it's stored. Now, when we look at urine, we will oftentimes observe the different characteristics of urine via urinalysis. So the urinalysis is a non-invasive diagnostic technique that looks at different parts of the urine. So it looks for physical, chemical, and microscopic abnormalities. All right, so some of the characteristics are related to the color, the odor, the volume, pH. These things down here all have specific factors that are associated with them. They generally form in a range because the characteristics can vary depending on things like water intake, the environmental conditions, exercise. So we'll look at these different components and talk about what is generally normal and what falls outside of quote unquote normal levels or in many cases healthy levels. All right, so starting with color. Color is largely going to fall between a pale yellow to a deeper amber. It can get almost brown if it is ultimately dark. Ideally, you want it to be this lighter color. So this indicates that you are taking in plenty of water and that you are hydrated. These colors down here, this is generally what's going to happen if your urine is too concentrated and you become dehydrated. So ideally you're looking for a pale yellow to almost clear color, although having it somewhat yellow is not that abnormal. Just might indicate that you need to drink more water. There are other things besides the concentration level that can affect it. So the overall yellow color comes from the breakdown of red blood cells or erythrocytes. So the breakdown of these are going to form urochrome, which is derived from hemoglobin. So this is what kind of gives it that yellowish brown color. Foods can also affect the color. So things like beets and berries oftentimes will give a reddish color to them. If you have blood in your urine, that's generally not a good sign, but it will affect the color. Things like liver damage, or if you have bile obstruction, that can also affect the urine color. So ultimately, giving an overview of the urine can give you an idea if something more might be wrong. Now, urine color, you might be thinking, okay, urine has that characteristic smell, but it's actually odorless. What gives urine this odor is that you are actually going to have urea in your urine, which is odorless. But bacteria in the environment will take this urea and convert it into ammonia, which has that characteristic smell that you associated with it. Like color, the odor of urine can also be affected by the foods that you're taking. So common ones are asparagus. About 1 in 5 people have a characteristic change in their urine smell when they eat asparagus. Onions, garlic, fish, all of those are examples of food that can change the aroma of the urine. All right, the volume can be indicative of different problems. So normal urine is generally going to be between 1 liter and about 750 milliliters. So we would consider that a normal level of urine. So if you're staying properly hydrated and nothing else is wrong with you, that's generally what you are going to be producing. Polyuria, so if we're getting significantly more, I should put 2 liters because 2 liters is the limit of the normal level of urine. Polyuria is if it is greater than 2.5 liters in a single day. There are several things that can lead to polyuria. So diabetes, both mellitus and insipidus, can increase your urine output, as can caffeine and alcohol. Kidney disease, certain drugs like diuretics, sickle cell anemia, or just taking in an excessive amount of water. All of these things are things that will lead to excessive water production. Now, if you're producing less than 750, but it's still somewhat significant, so from about 300 to 500 milliliters, because there is some gray area as you approach these different volumes. This is referred to as oliguria, so few urine. This can be a result of dehydration. The dehydration can be caused by a number of factors, including blood loss, diarrhea, kidney disease, and a large prostate can also get this. And then finally, you have anuria. That's essentially saying no urine. We define this as producing less than 50 milliliters per day. This is generally going to be a sign of kidney failure, an obstruction such as a kidney stone or tumor, or a large prostate. So anuria is generally going to be a very urgent thing that you're going to need to take care of. So you'll remove the kidney stone. You need to replace the kidney if it's failing, or fix it if it's salvageable. But you're not going to want to have no urine for an extended period of time. All right, this brings us to the pH and the specific gravity. So the pH, you can see here, is going to be quite variable. So the hydrogen ion concentration can vary more than 1,000-fold. There are some things that will increase your pH, like foods such as citrus fruits, vegetables, and dairy. Things that can lower your pH include meat. While there is a wide range, having chronically high or low pH can lead to certain disorders, such as the development of kidney stones or osteomalacia. So if it's falling outside of this range chronically, you might want to rectify that situation. Specific gravity is a measure of the solutes per volume, as is osmolarity. So both of these things are indicative of that. The specific gravity is going to be less specific, or less exact than osmolarity, but it's going to be easier to measure. So specific gravity is less accurate, but easier to measure, while osmolarity is going to be harder to measure, but will give you a greater idea. You'll notice that the specific gravity is greater than 1, and it will always be greater than 1, because 1 would be pure water, and the urine is always going to have solutes that increase the osmolarity. All right, finally, some things that you look for in urinalysis is the presence or absence of things that are normally going to be there. So white blood cells, in general, cells are usually absent. If you have cells, it's usually going to be white blood cells, which indicate a urinary tract infection. In addition to that, you can have indirect indicators of a urinary tract infection. So leukocyte esterase is going to be produced by the white blood cells. So this would be a UTI indirect indicator. Protein, generally not found in there. So this is generally going to represent that you may have damage to the kidney, specifically the glomeruli, since normally they wouldn't be getting filtered from the blood, but if you have the glomeruli damage, then protein can leak into the blood. Bilirubin typically is going to be low. Nitrites, so typically the nitrates, which are going to be NO2 minus, they are not present, but they can be converted from your nitrates. So the nitrates, those are the NO3 minus, by bacteria. So if this is happening, it's another indirect UTI indicator. Blood, you normally don't want to see any of that. Glucose, if that's present in the blood, then that might be a sign of diabetes, either type 1 or type 2. Ketones, so these are a product of fat metabolism. If ketones are present, That generally means that your body is relying on fat metabolism more than normal, which is generally indicative of a problem with carbohydrates. So this may represent someone who has uncontrolled diabetes because they're relying more on the fat conversion than normal, or if they have a very low carbohydrate diet, this can also result in more fat metabolism than normal, and thus result in a overall presence of ketones in the urine. All right, so this was an overview of the urinary system and a discussion of urine and its components. We will go into the next video discussing the kidneys and their role in urine production.